Can a finite being have qualities more than the infinite?
Because they can be different qualities. The infinite qualities can be specific to some things. For instance, an infinite force, but that's just pointing in one direction. That within a finite kind of direction, you can have many more dimensions, and you can have different non-linearities which aren't possible within an infinite thing. For instance, a line that just goes in one direction and continues forever, that's infinite, where it's simple, there's not much information there, or intellect.
Can the finite become infinite?
The finite can represent an infinite number of symbols. For instance, you could have a finite amount of information and say this represents different things, and the amount of different things you could think of could be infinite.
By definition, finite is not infinite. The finite will always have the limitations of its finitude of being finite. It will never traverse to a point where it becomes infinite. If it was infinite, if it can become infinite, then why call it finite in the first place? It doesn't make sense.
There's
finite
a slight distinction there. So if we're saying there's 10 numbers between 1 to 10, there's 10 possibilities, that's finite, it's within a finite set. But you can say that this represents 10 pears or 10 apples or 10 oranges or 10 different systems which interact in this way, and there are an infinite number of ways that can be interpreted. So if you were to say, look at the pixels on a computer screen, for instance, there's no Facebook, there's no Twitter that really exists. They're just patterns of pixels, but the actual content of them is in the human brain here, and that's outside of the finite computer system, and it's the infinite capacity of that comes from the way that it's viewed ontologically.
When you say infinite capacity from a finite brain,
the capacity is a slight mischaracterization there. Before we kind of delve into this infinite finite thing, can you explain why you think this is relevant?
Okay, let me tell you why. If we believe there's a creator, if we accept there's a creator who has no beginning, or has always been there, then whatever characteristics the creator has, 2 or 3 characteristics easily discernible by being here.
Yep.
One of having power or energy.
I agree.
Yep. Other definitely knowledge, because the creation demonstrates knowledge.
There's a slight distinction there. We can't say whether that knowledge belongs to the same entity that the power belongs to. We can say that there could be multiple creators. One has all that power, and one has the knowledge.
So the ultimate creator, if the ultimate creator did not have knowledge, if the ultimate creator did not have any intelligence, any wisdom, any knowledge, are you saying that without being knowledgeable, without having wisdom, intelligence, then this creator would be able to create things of this nature, like this creation?
I would say would be able to start a process of continuous improvement that led to intelligence.
No, not even improvement. How, if you have no knowledge about how to make computers, how do you start? Start with what?
So, are you familiar with, for instance, cellular automa? Are you familiar with like cellular automa, like the game of life? Basically, these are like little cells in tables and stuff. They have very simple rules, like
rules, yeah.
Yeah.
Start with rules. If the creator has no knowledge, is he able to put any rules in the system? No, zero rules. So you start with zero rules. So give me an example from zero rules.
Let's say there's a constant number, just one.
Okay.
The concept of one.
Sure.
And then let's say this represents the universe. And then you have the universe starting from a finite
how do you have,
of nothing.
from a non-knowledgeable entity like the creator, in your understanding, doing anything that shows demonstration of knowledge and wisdom? All this process that we see in terms of,
well, this is
whether
exactly what I'm kind of saying. I don't think that original creator is possible of showing any knowledge, because it doesn't have any. It's only
if it doesn't have any, then how does anything that is what we see?
Because
everything we see in this cosmos, right? It shows design.
Yep.
It shows patterns and
Totally.
complexity and harmony. All of this kick-starts from what? Zero knowledge.
Yes.
Give me an example how this is even imaginable.
We talked about evolution as one.
Evolution starts with rules already programmed within the genetic makeup. It's a set of rules. So when there are no rules whatsoever to start with, so you have this complexity in harmony. No knowledge whatsoever, and then you get a wonderful universe like this.
This is one that's a little bit more difficult to talk about, but the spontaneous generation of life which led to that self-replication.
Life didn't spontaneously generate itself, because this is something that makes no sense. What is life that spontaneously generates from what? There's already pre-existing material. These materials have to come together in a certain specific combination.
So yes, we're talking about protein spontaneously coming about.
But that's rules. These are already rules. The forces of attraction and repulsion, the rules that say, okay, you have to come together in this combination, in this particular order, already is a program built in. So you haven't got a spontaneity from nothing, from zero.
So we kind of skipped a step there. So between, so yeah, I do really need the physics there and all of that, and that's why I believe that there's a creator of this universe, because for gravity to be here, for all of these universal constants to be around, it's far easier to have an intelligent creator. That's why I believe.
So if you now extrapolate this intelligence that you see from the constants of the universe requires an intelligent creator, that intelligence is already a given thing of an attribute of the creator.
What I'm saying is that that creator that created this universe could have been a little bit simpler than this universe itself. Like maybe they wouldn't need to deal with gravity.
So this intermediate creator has some knowledge.
Yes.
Coming from where?
Coming from sources beforehand which are a little simpler in turn.
Such as? What do you mean?
So let's say the creator of this universe isn't affected by gravity.
Creator affected. You see, okay, let's really simplify this issue. You're having difficulty in accepting that the first creator, the only creator that makes sense to be in existence, can have certain attributes like knowledge. Okay, and the reason being, you think knowledge evolves.
Yes.
Yep. So if the creator exists without being brought into existence, why do you not have a problem of that creator having energy to begin with? Where does the energy come from? That creator that exists with power and energy. Where does the energy come from?
This is something that's really quite hard for me to reason about, but then I just have to say there's only one thing that came into existence. I don't have to say, and I can talk about how it led from there. I don't have to say then that not only did energy come into existence, but also kindness and the capability of being a teacher, all this intellect.
When you say energy came into existence, the energy of the Creator
And the
wasn't
energy
given
is
by
also-
anyone. This energy, the power the Creator has, no one gave the Creator the power.
Sure, I agree with that. An ultimate.
So where is
Creator.
this? What is the source of this power? Within the Creator.
I would
It's
say
inherent.
That has to be itself.
Inherent, right? Yeah. So likewise, we say this Creator has described Himself that this Creator is all powerful, all hearing, all knowing, all seeing, and also all forgiving, all compassionate, all just. So these are things that the Creator described Himself to us, so that we don't fall into this confusion about maybe the Creator doesn't have knowledge, and then He created other intermediary creators which has knowledge. Okay, so the confusion is removed.
At a point,
The Creator has affirmed these attributes for Himself. So us being finite creation, we accept what the Creator has affirmed for Himself.
and then we have to trust that the creators is also truthful.
If the Creator has created us and told us that He's created us for a purpose, we have to accept that.
Okay. Maybe
There's
to
no
completely change the discussion a bit here. What actually is the purpose talked about in the Quran?
The purpose of our creation, the Quran says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Because I have not created man and jinn except to worship me. That is the simple reason. So this worship is gratitude of the Creator and submitting and surrendering will in line with what the Creator wants to this Creator. So if the Creator says, okay, I want you to live your life in a certain way, and you submit to this will, then you are worshipping the Creator. The Creator tells us we are not created here to last forever in this life, but this life is a momentary phase of our existence. We will die, and then we'll be resurrected back again. And then, depending on what we believed and what we did, whether we actually fulfill the purpose of our creation, whether we worship God or not, then there are consequences that awaits for us, a place of reward, joy and happiness, tranquility and bliss in paradise in Jannah, or a place of suffering, torment, pain, which is hellfire. And that's what will be the two of the final destinations for us. And these abode will be forever. Okay, there will be no death after this life. Once we are resurrected again, death itself will come into total annihilation, as if like death itself will be killed and done with. So we'll have no death. So the Creator has created us so that we worship. Not that He needs our worship, but we need to worship Him.
So, I think if I'm honest, maybe part of the reason why I'm skeptical about Islam isn't necessarily the metaphysical things I've been talking through, but it's in that idea of submission I find a little disconcerting, because I imagine if I were to have a child, for instance, I would want to see them outgrow me and go on to kind of have their own existence, but the idea of having a child submit to me and never to be able to grow up feels very uneasy to me. Does that make sense?
Okay, let's explore this issue a bit. First of all, we're not children of God. We don't believe we are children of God, like many people believe. We are creation of God, and God is our creator. So the relationship is between the creator and the created.
I maybe understand that, but I mean to be limited by what God has set out for us,
okay,
and not be able to
understand something.
exceed those boundaries.
If I make something and I set a purpose, this is my prerogative, right? Now, if I've laid down the reasons why I've made something and they do not follow, then they're not actually following the reasons why they're there. Okay? They do that on their own consequences, which they will face for that. So if we are created so that we can go to a place which the Creator wants us to, He wishes us that we follow the way that leads to eternal happiness. Okay? Eternal happiness, joy, tranquility, bliss. And he could have put ourselves, us, straight into that place of eternal happiness. He could have. But the Creator has given us and created us with some free will, limited amount of free will. Okay? Free will entails that we choose the path and see whether we deserve to go to that place or not. Okay? If you, with your free will, wish to choose another path which takes you to a place away from this eternal paradise, the Creator is not going to force you, because He's given you that freedom to choose. That's what makes you different from other creation. Okay? So He could have placed us straight into paradise. You and I would not complain, right? If we were there in paradise, because we would have been happy in bliss. Would you complain if you were in eternal joy?
I don't think I would have felt like I had earned it.
But you would not complain, why am I here in this joy and this, tranquility and bliss? Would you?
I might be a little bit different. I actually would. I would want to. I would never feel comfortable if all this had just been given to me. I would want to be able to create and to improve on my surroundings. Then I would feel limited if I was in eternal bliss.
In heaven, there's nothing to improve for yourself. All there is for your own enjoyment.
That sounds awful. I would hate that.
Why would you hate it?
Because there wouldn't be anything for me to do, and I would have.
No, there will be lots of things to do, but you don't have to, have all this toil and suffering to achieve your happiness. Ultimately, what in this life? Okay, let's understand that. In this life, do we want happiness or do we not want happiness?
We want to pursue happiness.
Right.
We don't necessarily want happiness itself.
So you don't want to be happy?
I do, but
right.
That isn't the ultimate aim. The aim is to try to. The aim. It's like that kind of that weird saying, like it's about the journey, not the destination type thing.
So, if you just have the journey without the end, without happiness, you'd prefer that?
Yes.
Yeah. So, if you have, for example, you just work and at the end of the day you have no reward, you're quite happy. So you work for a company, you do all your work, and then there's no reward, no salary at the end of the day.
What I would like is to have a reward at the end of the day. Then I would like a next day as well, where I can continue to.
Why do we expect a reward, like a salary at the end of the day? Why don't we just work? It's just a journey, isn't it? Just do the work without expecting any reward at the end of the day. Why? When you eat, what if what you just eat and doesn't give you any nourishment? You just eat.
You don't like the idea of just kind of going through life and then at the end of it not having a reward for it. You would expect at the end to know the results of what your life was, and not just for it to be something that is unanswered.
I find it. From your perspective, I find it difficult to relate to, because everyone wants to be happy, wants to have this tranquility in their hearts, the contentment, the peace. So if you were in a very poverty-stricken area with no food, no clothes, you would not say, oh, you know what, I would just strive in this cold, and you would strive, but ultimately the aim for you is to remain warm in this freezing cold. You want to have some kind of peace. You want some food which will give you some nourishment. So there is this aim linked, isn't it?
When there's some people who are very, very rich, why do you think that once they have earned all their money and they have everything that they want, that they continue to work and to try and earn money?
Firstly, there are no countries.
There are people who love the work they do. Yeah, I am not saying the element of this journey is unimportant, but what I'm finding it difficult is to divorce the actual end results, the reward, from that effort. So effort is there, good, but the end is also important. So if God has created us and He wants us to be content and happy, and He gives that in paradise, okay, and it's all there. You're saying, I need to do some work to get there. But he's already given you this. You don't need to do that. If you want to do, that's fine, but you don't have to put that effort in. If you were to put into hellfire directly, would you complain?
I expect I would.
Why would you complain?
Because I would be in hell.
Because hell is not giving you that happiness and joy and contentment, right? And the peace and tranquility. It's the opposite of that. It's pain and suffering and torment. Yeah. So you don't want that thing. So you don't want. So in general, the ultimate aim seems to be these goals that we have. We don't want pain and suffering. Okay. It's inevitable in this life that we experience this pain and suffering. Okay. Because that's how this life is. God has created this life in two opposites. So we appreciate what we want. We appreciate the light when we understand what darkness is. We appreciate what is living when we saw what is not living.
The thing is, though, I struggle to understand heaven as being like at the opposite. I imagine almost like a line. Like if you imagine a wild animal, their life might not be that great. Our life is better. The concept of heaven that's described in the Quran, for instance, might be great, but perhaps we can get better than that. And would we have an opportunity to create something that's better than what's described there?
I don't get it. In the Quran it says, Allah says, and so the Prophet has explained, Prophet of Islam, that no eyes have seen what awaits for you, no ears have heard. These are just a similitude given of the descriptions. Because if I say, do you know Chukwuemeka?
I don't.
So if you don't have any concept of Chukwuemeka, you would know what it is. You would not be able to understand it. But if I say Chukwuemeka is a device that records sound, so you start getting some pictures, you're building in. In the Quran, the description of heaven is given in such a way with something that we appreciate here.
Well,
It's just a similarity in names, but the actual reality is not the same.
But the thing is that over the next 100 years, we know that there's going to be some fantastic artwork, the likes of which we've never seen before. But at the same point, we know that once we've seen that art, there'll then be more art that comes after that, which is successively better. And like what we see today, we kind of look at it and we think that we can improve on it, and that's a fair enough sentiment. So I don't think that's invalid to want to continuously improve as the possibilities increase. So.
In heaven, your contentment, your joy, your beauty will increase. So every once a day in a week, if you were to understand in the weekly concepts in this life, when you return back to your family will say you've become more beautiful, more attractive. So there will be this continuous progress of this contentment in paradise. So you can't get anything better, because your concept of improvement is already God has described for us. So the idea that it is not appealing because I need to submit to go there. Submission is your acknowledgement that yes, I am a creation of a creator, created for a purpose, and if I fulfill that purpose, then I will have the end result. If you work for a company, just like you expect that there will be at the end of the month or a week, you get some reward. If you study for an exam or a course, at the end of the year, you get a degree or an award or a certificate or a PhD, whatever it might be. You know what awaits there. So if you wish to live a life like a student, for example, go to a course and you say, I know this is mathematics, right? But you don't actually study mathematics. My reasons of studying is mathematics. I just want to illustrate this point, and then you can explain.
So, I just to say, about 5 minutes or so, I want to kind of fight my friend.
No problem. So let's be a bit more concise. So if you study for a course and you realize this course is about mathematics, right?
Yep.
And then you go there, you say, I know it's about mathematics, but instead you just know how to make coffee and cakes and so on. That's all you do. You just go to the library and get a book, how to make coffee, how to make how to bake cakes and stuff like that, and you don't know anything about algebra or calculus, what you're studying, and then you sit the test knowing that it's not going to be about baking cakes, and the result that you get from the test is, when you look at the questions, you don't know what the answers are, and then at the end you would not be fulfilling this course that you're actually working for.
I see.
Right.
Okay.
So if the Creator has created us for a specific purpose, and that purpose is linked with our ultimate destination and our ultimate state of being in these two places,
then there's a consequence to go.
So it is only wise to say, look, the reasons why I need to submit, because I know that the Creator is my Creator. Why should I not listen to my Creator when the Creator says this is the reason I've been created for? If I choose my own whims, my desires to be my guide, to live this life, and not follow any particular way and path, and I do not submit to the Creator, then I shouldn't expect to meet the Creator and the Creator offering me this reward. I should be left to the judgment of the Creator, who has already given us, look, the judgment is this. This was the rule. It was this life that you're supposed to live. You didn't follow it. So, being a just Creator, this is what I've already told and informed you before. I've already informed by sending prophets and messengers throughout ages that you need to follow this path of the prophets and messengers. By following this path, you are surrendering to God. If you do that, then you do it for your own good. If you don't do it, you do it for your own loss. So in the day of judgment, when you are presented with your deeds and your actions and your belief that you have done, you would not be in a position to say, but I want to be happy in this paradise without submitting. That wasn't the way. The way put forward is a way that the Creator placed, and we are not in a position to argue and saying, I don't want to follow your way. Just like if you're in a Titanic and it's sinking, are you going to say, no, I don't like it to be like that one? Because you are already in a situation which is beyond your control.
That makes a lot of sense. I just have one last question before I go. What does Allah think about people that are good and they try to do good for the people around them, but they might submit to society but not to Allah, for instance?
Yeah, if people do not submit to God but submit to the society, then in the day of judgment they should expect the society to reward them, but not God. God's reward comes with submission and surrender to God and His prophets and messengers. Yeah? Do you see? I mean, God doesn't say that, but I'm saying this is what people should expect. Because if you do not submit to your Creator and you do your things which you think is good, because what is good? It could be the same thing, right? Instead of
on the day of judgment, is it only God that's doing the judging, or are there other judges as well?
Only God.
Only God.
There is no other judge except God alone.
Okay.
God is the judge because He's the one who created you, caused you to die, and the one who is going to dispense your ultimate destination in that day of judgment.
Okay. Thanks for talking to me. I'm going to find my friend now. But
nice talking to you. What was your name?
Ashton.
Ashton.
Yeah.
I'm Mansur. We can talk again perhaps another time.
Yes.
And if you have any questions, we can just explore a bit further.
Fine.
Are you reading the Quran in the time being?
I've only read the first 2 chapters, but I want to read more.
Carry on reading. You can read the Quran in a conceptual way, like what does the Quran talk about death? What does the Quran talk about life? What does the Quran talk about good works? What is being good? Because our Prophet ﷺ, just to finalize this point, he actually said that he was raised to perfect the nobility of character. So we believe people are noble in their character, but he came to perfect it and elevate it. And that's what this journey is about, to make yourself better and improve yourself in this nobility. Okay, Aston? You take care, okay? And we talk again.